Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Addy Anakin Skywalker, YouTube's chosen one. I'm an interviewer and public intelligence agent from the Midwest for my channel, Addy Ads, and Neighborhood News Studio as well. I'll be joined shortly by investigative reporter George Webb, as well as our colleagues in the Midwest in Michigan, Aaron and Andy as well over at the Neighborhood News Studio. A bit happening over the past couple days here as far as some moves, and the big one is the pardoning of Michael Flynn. General Flynn has been pardoned officially by Donald Trump. He said he would do this yesterday, and it's happened as of today, which is big news. General Flynn, of course, being the target of the initial uh, phase of coups that occurred in 2016, as soon as Donald Trump took the office of the President of the United States. And even after Flynn was removed from his office by the Dems and the deep state, he that wasn't enough for them. They continued to attack the Trump administration up to this point, and we've seen as well recently Sidney Powell in headlines. Another big move or news was the Trump administration distancing themselves from Sidney Powell and her team, and I hope to discuss that with my colleagues tonight as well. So this is something, just looking at the Flynn exoneration, or excuse me, not exoneration, pardon, can be interpreted, I think, a couple ways. Does Trump think he's on his way out of office, and is he trying to do good on General Flynn? Or is this simply one card that Trump is going to play as far as getting this election back? Now, I could see both things being possible. Obviously, I'm hoping for the latter, as I think we all should. Other news from around the world: Australia, Southern Australia, is setting up detention facilities for people who have been diagnosed with coronavirus. Significant as well because of the allusion or comparison we can make to concentration camps during World War II. And I'm joined by Andy from Michigan at the Neighborhood News Studio. How are you doing, sir? Andy?
What what's up, Addy? How you doing?
Uh,
I don't know if it's just me, but the sound is definitely a little choppy.
give us an N by N on the sound here, people. I haven't gotten any complaints
It's
thus
just you.
far, but let me work on the layout here as I zoom out on you guys. Joined by Aaron Adler and Andy DeBall from the Neighborhood News Studio in Michigan as they try to connect here. George Webb will be joining us very shortly as well. Just got finished watching Mark Kulak of Housatonic Live and John McLaughlin of McDuff underscore 2020 channel as well. They did a great show, and I want to give a shout out to them for that.
All right, I can hear you a lot better now.
Excellent. How are you guys doing this evening?
Doing well. I didn't check the hair before we actually got on got on camera can't always look as good as Addy Eds, you know. Some of us gotta actually work at it.
Yeah,
Especially,
okay.
especially
Yes.
this guy.
Yeah, why don't you get in the frame there, Aaron? And we can add you here. George Webb will be joining us shortly. I was just discussing the Flynn
Okay,
article
I'm sorry.
by Donald Trump, which happened early today, as well as discussing uh, camps, detention camps of sorts for diagnosed people of coronavirus in southern Australia, as well as we see more and more lockdowns descend upon us in this wave as we head into winter here.
Hmm.
But I just want to know what you guys' thoughts are on everything that's happened,
Well,
particularly.
Australia's been particularly harsh, haven't they? They came out with that video a couple months ago where that woman got like torn out of her house for doing one of the anti-COVID protests. So, as far as I'm concerned, in the more modern world, I guess they're leading the way in the coronavirus measures. So it's good to keep an eye on what's going on down there because that's what's going to progress to the rest of the countries as we continue down the COVID road. And it is
Yeah,
it is a little worrisome because they're acting like a lot of people are. I don't know if they're acting, but a lot of people are coming down with COVID. Like before, in the beginning of the virus, I personally didn't know that many people who are actually coming down and getting it, but now I actually know like probably about 10 to 12 people who've actually contracted the virus. So
oh wow.
I don't know if that's just the flu season and they're trying to trick us a little bit into thinking it's COVID, but I hope this stuff. I was hoping this stuff would at least stop when they announced Joe Biden was going to be the president, but it's not looking so.
Yeah, I think it's because they know it's not a lock yet. But the people you mentioned that have contracted COVID, are those all people you know locally there in Michigan, Andy?
Uh, no, it's actually my brother who lives in Colorado, my brother-in-law who lives in St. Louis, and I guess there has been some. There's like a couple aunts and uncles around here, and a couple friends around Toledo. So um, I don't know. It is kind of spread out, I guess, but there's a little bit condensed around here. I personally don't have it, thankfully. Um,
Yeah, and
but
we
everyone just says they get sick for a day or two, or they feel some type of stomach bug, and then they just move on with life, and they pretty much have to sit at home from work and just hang out for a couple weeks until they're allowed to go back to their normal day-to-day life.
Anybody ever had malaria?
I have not.
know.
You've taken malaria shots going to Africa and stuff, right?
You don't take shots. You take the
Or
pills.
pills.
There's a pill. I stopped taking the pill because the pill kind of just was annoying. I got malaria 7 or 8 times. It's just kind of a thing. You just get malaria, you take the pills,
Mm-hmm.
or you don't. You know.
Quinine or the
It's just a lot of it's different things you can take. But is George going to join us tonight? Are we thinking? Or
yeah, I sent him the link, and he said he would join us. Hopefully everything's okay on his end.
do we have
But
time to be silly? Do we get to be silly before the big guy gets here? Or
Here we go.
do
Aaron
we get
said
to
he
be
was
silly?
going to try and bring a
Well,
little
hold on. Do
comedy.
we? If I'm not allowed to be silly, I won't be silly. You know.
you can be
Do
silly.
you have topics? Do you have some questions you want to ask? Or
Well, I guess the big thing I wanted to cover was the Flynn pardoning, and yeah, that was the big thing. Other than that, just a couple minor stuff. I mean, it seems to be the same old song and dance with these lockdowns, and I guess New Mexico just banned. What was it? Deborah was saying going out for 2 weeks, I think. Close down grocery stores for the next 2 weeks.
Oh,
Mexico,
yeah, I saw that.
the Denver mayor recommended not traveling, and then consequently got on a plane to, I think it was Arizona, to visit his family. So it just, as I said, kind of it seems to be the same old song and dance of do as I say and not as I do. But Aaron, you said you had malaria several times.
I've had
What?
malaria. Yep, it's a thing that people get when they live in Africa and they stay out after dark. It'll happen.
Um,
Hits you
I
like a
think
ton of bricks. You're just walking and then kaboom. It's like, you got malaria. And so it's like with Corona, I wonder, I mean, God, protects me and my family. I mean, who knows? I don't want to disparage what anybody's dealt with, but there's a lot of things out here in the world that a lot of people are dealing with every day. Malaria being one of them for millions of people
Well,
throughout the world.
that's part of the issue. If this whole COVID thing is like comes out that there's been overblowing like what it actually is the whole time, and people haven't been getting their regular medical treatments or their cancer checkups that they're normally used to getting, and they could develop some serious problems, maybe die just because they didn't get that looked at in time or whatever. So there's definitely some serious implications to COVID if it is being overblown by the media and stuff to influence the election and influence the people to make Donald Trump look bad, which I don't know. I hope the deep state or whatever, wouldn't go that far, or whoever's control, or China or whoever wouldn't actually go that far. But
yeah, you said you
it's
want to be silly.
stories being
Go ahead.
written still. So
It's funny, you bros and me, bro, just a bunch of bros here, but I am kind of like a super dad with 4 kids, and I maybe I do look a little older than you guys if I take the hat off, right? But it's just
I thought my hair
it's
was
just
looking bad right now.
my kids in a K through 12 education are probably going to go to school what, 100, more than 100, less than 200 times a year. 2,000, approximately 2,000 total school days, total public school days is what my tax dollars and everything are going to pay for the education of my kids and their upbringing and everything else, right? So we're down at least 100 days now, right? So I've lost 5% of the education that most young people, young Americans will get, right? For my kids, right? So you can chop 90, 5% off right there. So they're already starting behind. And we'll see how many more days of school are we going to miss, over something that hasn't killed nearly like 5% as many kids as flu does every year, apparently. So it's just like when I think of, my experiences in Africa and looking at people all over the world, and you hear these stories in Afghanistan of these girls who go to school and like cross the Taliban and all these other, or maybe not the Taliban. I don't know exactly what goes on in Afghanistan and Pakistan, but just like what people deal with to go to school, because the kids got to go to school because you got to go to school. And instead, like, the teachers are all in the buildings, in the rooms on Zoom. And I love my kids' teachers. This isn't to disparage my kids' teachers, other than to say that the unions have clearly created a scenario where the teachers come before the kids now, and that it's about the teachers first and not the kids. And so, like, my kids are at home and it's a effing train wreck. And we're doing the best we can, but like many other people's scenarios are a train wreck. And I don't know, you guys started talking about coronavirus. I started talking about malaria. I think of like all the kids in Africa going to school every day, dealing with cholera and, tetanus and all the other things that they have to deal with every day when they wake up and go out. And they really want to go to school because you really got to go to school. And the fact that the kids aren't going to school is like President Schmesident. Just whatever. I don't care. Make Mickey Mouse president. The kids aren't in school. What the hell is going on? Sorry, I was going to be goofy, but then I got on a rant.
Yeah, I thought you were going to do like a Serbian accent and stuff. But
yeah,
school, that's like, if we keep going down this road and people are continuing to be off work, the tax dollars aren't going to be there in the future. So there's definitely going to be some public social programs that are going to be cut in the future. And who knows which ones are going to be cut from the system. I'm assuming some schools in some of the inner cities are going to be condensed and stuff like that. And maybe some medical facilities will be chopped down in certain parts of the city. But there's definitely a lot of implications to just being off work this long and having the economy shut down. I know the stock market's going nuts, but that's just because people think there's going to be a bounce back now that Biden and all the corporations that bought into his campaign are buying back into the system. But I mean, I hope the lockdown stuff. I mean, that stuff just kind of goes hand in hand with the shutdown of society, the lockdown measures, the no school, and the moving us into certain neighborhoods and everything. There's more of the separation of the classes. So we gotta continue to keep fighting the fight over here. Sorry for talking so much, Addy. I know you've been hanging out there in the beach, enjoying the sunshine, kind of getting away from all of it. What do you think the future holds for the country?
Yeah, no worries, Andy. That's why we're here. But it's I was just thinking about people who don't believe that any of the stuff that we believe is going on behind the scenes, like the coup, repeated coups, the sting, who actually believe media that Trump is this bad guy. How hard it must be as time goes on for them to come to terms with the facts. And I wonder if, as we go deeper and deeper into this authoritarian state that we're living in, that people's patience will start to wear out in a way such that they start to question things a little more.
Thank God we didn't let them take the guns, right?
Yeah, and I saw this tweet.
Yeah.
The Democrats took all the paper, all the toilet paper, and the Republicans took all the ammo.
We talk about the Truman Show oftentimes, but I think a better Jim Carrey movie that maybe you guys do or don't know is Cable Guy. You guys know Cable Guy?
Everybody knows
Cable Guy.
Yeah.
That's really the prophetic one. Because, like, what does he do at the end, right? He jumps and he destroys the big TV satellite dish thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody has to kill the babysitter. And he jumps and then he smashes the satellite and everybody's TVs go out, right? And then they, like, pick up books and other things. And that'll be it. It's just like, that's the only thing. Doesn't matter Trump. Doesn't matter Biden. Doesn't matter anything anymore. It matters televisions and not televisions. And if you're going to watch the television programming or you're not going to watch the television programming. And it's the TV watchers versus the non-TV watchers. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you can call that whatever you want to call it, but that's where we're at now. And it sucks because, like, we're on YouTube here and YouTube's kind of like on the same team as the TV stations, even though they pretend not to be. And that's, you know, hard for us all to reckon with while we try to, you know, uncover years and decades of military industrial complex using us in our, you know, labor for domination of the world. But I don't know, you know, here we are. We're trying our best.
Trying our best.
G-Dub tonight? No G-Dub? Maybe we should, maybe we're not going to get the G-Dub, the maestro.
I just texted him, and he hasn't responded yet, so I don't know what's going on there. Hopefully his Twitter didn't get hacked. You were saying you guys couldn't access Twitter before, but it looks like
I got the nnhour.com Twitter feed. I got, like, blocked out of that. They, like, wanted me to, like, send them my ID and, like, a birth certificate or some shit like that. And I was just like, hell no, you're not getting these things. So they just, like, I just kind of let that go to the wayside and started a new Twitter account. Hood News Studio is the tag, but it's Neighborhood News Studio is the name of the page and stuff. But it's like, yeah, they just randomly, I swear I changed the, like, banner to George's picture, and like, literally 5 minutes later asked for my ID and stuff, and it was like, what is going on here? And it was just,
yeah.
Sorry, Twitter, you ain't getting that.
Well, Addy, I want to say thank you to my friend George. If he's not going to join us tonight, then at least I say thank you to my friend George, because I have been looking for which one of the accent in the European is going to be the good one for me. Because we start with the Borman, and I talk like this, and I think maybe I'm gonna be like the German guy, but I'm not. He's not a good like a German guy. Then I talk like this, and I make think the Russian guy, one of maybe the Magid Mile Russian guy. But it's not me be the Russian guy when I talk like this. And what is it that I find? They're like the Serbian guy. So thank you. I want to say thank you to this Mr. Popovic. The squeak of the pip, right? The squeaking of the pip man. This Mr. the Popovic from the Non-Violence Institute. Okay?
Canvas.
I never knew, Addy. I didn't know that it's more easy to kill the people with the non-violence than it is easy to kill the people with the violence. When you just mess with the people and you confuse them and you give them the propaganda and the fake this and the fake that, then you make them go crazy. They kill themselves and they ruin the country. You don't need to shoot them with the bombs and the guns. So thank you, George Webb, because you give me the research to know the Mr. Popovic and the Canvas and the Otporn guys. And now I learned all the tricks. I learned all the tricks, Addy, for how to do the good revolution. To not shoot the people, to just do the non-violence thing. So the people shoot themselves. Is very good. Thank you. How'd I do? I messed up at the end, maybe. How'd I do? That's bad.
It's pretty good, Aaron. Moderate coup. They're just, moderate, non-violent coup.
Aaron definitely didn't go to Juilliard for acting class.
I am not in the Habonim drawer drama camps, folks. I'm sorry they didn't let me in. Don't know what to tell you. But if George wasn't going to join us, I figured we have to
by the way,
get a little goofy here, right?
You can watch your boy Sacha Baron Cohen's movie on Amazon right now. We should do a on Amazon Prime. Okay, we should schedule this, right? We're scheduling this right now. We're going to do a viewing live where people can listen to us talk about watching the movie live. Have you ever seen people do that?
Is that the one that Giuliani showed up in?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is that called?
What is the name of it? The Sacha Baron Cohen
One
movie?
Giuliani.
Oh, this Borat 2.
Borat
Dude,
2.
like these people just...
Yeah, they like set Giuliani
I'm
up
glad you
with
guys
like a
actually
young
mentioned
girl and stuff.
One of the big things Otpor talks about, right? If you want to do, I've been doing a lot of Otpor research. Mm-hmm. If you couldn't tell, I've been letting it Otpor over me, was what I said the other day, right? I'll say it again. And one of the things that this guy Popovic loves to go do speeches about is laughtivism, right? Like how that? You can use laughter and comedy to, motivate a revolution, right? And I wish I had my notes here the other day. It's probably better I don't because they had curse words on them and stuff. Mm-hmm. But it was just like, dude, you Canvas Schmendricks. You guys don't know Schmendrick. Harry Bacharach might know Schmendrick. If anybody knows a deep Yiddish word in this audience, it may be Harry Bacharach who knows what a Schmendrick is. But these Schmendricks, dude, with this like acting. Have you been watching any of this Otpor stuff?
Yeah, I know.
It's this laughtivism that they think that like they can make comedies and their comedies are gonna get people to like do stuff. Their comedies are such like cookie cutter vanilla garbage. Just like somebody saying memes here, right? It's like organic memes from meme warriors like Peter Duke and others. Mm-hmm. Just slay these BS Otpor CIA financed propaganda things that they do.
Because these people are set up in place to be successful. They don't like earn it the hard way where they have to like go this long road to get to the point where I have to like travel in these like real shitty clubs and stuff and go around the country for years and learn how to actually be funny. When they get to the point in Hollywood, they're all set up. These people are actually like trained to be
they're
funny.
Just not that funny.
Yeah,
like they're not funny anymore.
That's why it's like, always like, it's like a weird type of humor, but it is
like Adam Sandler's not funny anymore.
It is also weird that we got all these British comedians that like even over in England they all like make fun of us for thinking these guys are funny with the the Trevor Noahs and the
all the nighttime shows are part of this.
They're all these like
all the nighttime
they're
shows
all
are
these
part
like
of this.
weird British guys that like no one actually like watches, and they're telling us what to do with our politics over here, and it's like we're trying to get away from you guys. So
they're not all British.
Get out of a lot of them. Jimmy Kimmel's like the only one, and Jimmy's fat. It's either you're British or your name is Jimmy.
And there's
it's
Steve
like,
Carell. A lot of people in my family like Steve Carell, and I've tried to watch it, and it's like, dude, like you couldn't pay me to watch this. I don't understand.
I don't know. I like The Office.
Oh, you're interested. Okay.
Well, have you noticed like so many of the news heads are like not American? I think what Andy was saying, like Trevor, the black guy. What's his name? Trevor Noah. He's like South African.
Mm-hmm.
You got the British guy, the Australian guy. It's like where are the It's because they're trying to reach, I think, foreigners. They're trying to reach foreign nationals. They're not trying to reach Americans so much. But I think it also plays into the PC thing of, oh, are you being racist against South Africans or British? Well, no, but they aren't really, they're not from this country. So why are they giving us our news? So
they're literally they all do it with that snooty British accent with their nose up in the air as they drink a cup of tea, and it literally just kind of digs at you an extra little bit more. You know what I mean? Gets in your craw.
Fox's ratings. I don't know if you saw that. Fox's ratings tanked. They're now behind everybody. They were leading. You remember that they were dominating for I think much of this pandemic, mostly because of Tucker, I think. But
yeah.
I don't know
if
what.
I'm not mistaken, MSNBC and Fox News incorporated on the same day by the same lawyer at the same time.
You heard it here first.
I may be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure I'm not mistaken on that. Incorporated, same lawyer, same day, same time, same filing.
He like took the two companies then. It was like
just like Brzezinski said, you swing the pendulum, right? I mean, the strategy of tension. Just swing them and swing them.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Now they're showing their cards with, announcing Biden as the president-elect, which I hope, you'd think that more people would come to realize that they should not put their trust in Fox, even if they are speaking some truth. At the end of the day, their allegiance is to the deep state, and it's still ridiculous to me that Joe Biden may be president. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think this is secured one way or the other? It seems kind of still very much up in the air to me with everything that's going on, even the Flynn part of it.
Like, are you like part of the Kraken crew? Do you go that deep?
What does that even mean? Release the Kraken? It seems like it's putting too much faith in Sidney Powell. I don't trust any of these people, any of them.
Well, there's like Sidney Powell said something like when Michael Flynn got released today, and it just like riled up the Kraken crowd even more. And it's like, I don't really follow the whole QAnon thing. I just I got a couple buddies that tell me stuff, so I'm all third hand QAnon conspiracy over here. But yeah, I guess it's just some like secret plan that they've had this whole time that they're kind of been setting up with
Chris and I watched The Plot Against the President the other night, which was a pretty good documentary.
Mm-hmm.
On Wikipedia, it's classified as a propaganda film and not a documentary, but very well done. It really details the beginning of the whole Trump administration in 2016 and the Flynn attack. So I'd recommend people check that documentary out because you get to put some names to faces like Kash Patel and the other players too. Because a lot of times you're just seeing names and not faces. But no George tonight, folks. He had a long day today. He gets up really early, so he was kind of.
He just responded to you.
Yeah. So
that's good. Yeah. We're already half an hour in, honestly, just being goofy and talking the talk, right?
You're the one being goofy.
I know. I do have a few serious research.
I'm dropping bombshells over here.
I know.
Well, I want to do some plugs because I'm talking to Ryan Dawson tomorrow, and we're meeting up with Aaron, right, in Florida. Are you coming down, or is it just George?
I think you and I should
on that?
do more planning off air.
Yeah.
Not because we're hiding anything, more just because it's
Okay.
uninteresting and nobody would care and it's a waste of people's time. That like,
Sure.
we'll figure it out how we're moving around and who's going to
What's
go
the
north,
term for
south,
the
east, and
SAG
west.
I will be in Florida starting this Friday, collaborating with Kirsten W. And at some point in the near future after that, I'm going to be met up with by
The
one or
the
some.
Patriot pinup. You forgot to say
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter. That's perfect.
that.
I gotta use that when I see her. I'm like, hey, it's the famous Patriot pin, Kirsten W. I know she'd love that. But I was actually listening to her chat. She did an interview with Patrick Byrne. I want to say yesterday, the Overstock guy, as well as I was also checking out Roseanne Barr's interviews as well. She's been talking to I can't remember his name, Oliver Stone's son, Sean, I think his name is.
Sean
It's-
Stone.
yeah, yeah, he's been doing some good interviews too that I've been checking out. But I don't know, it just seems to me a war of attrition where they're trying to kind of zap our willpower to fight, to fight the good fight, certainly. But uh,
I'm honestly surprised our channels haven't been taken down by now again. Like after the first time, it's like
hmm,
what's stopping them again? They just
Somebody
let them
stop
stay
me
up.
if I sound crazy, right? Or crazier than usual, or just whatever. I've been listening and reading a lot of these Canvas guys and then the DARPA guys and others who go back to, finance them and influence them and infiltrate them. And they, as much as they piss me off and as much as it's seepingly obvious that they have created all these color revolutions and use their non-violent nonsense as a Machiavellian strategy to just be, the first wave before a military takeover. I have absorbed the notion that, like, for these guys, right, the reason this sucks and the reason they suck is because they took this non-violent ethic, which was really a beautiful thing. I mean, you're talking some serious heroes of history, right? Addy, I'm sure you've done book reports or other reports on, people like Mandela, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, heroes. Jesus.
I forgot.
Sorry,
Jesus.
I mean, my bad. Lots of great people, right? And these guys,
Mother Teresa.
when you hear them talk, they're like, oh, those silly non-violent, whatevers.
Martin Luther
the
King.
only reason we do this is because our enemies got a really strong military and they would beat the crap out of us if we didn't do it like this. So we've got to do it like this, right? Like, they are totally practical in their nonviolent strategy, and they love telling everybody how they're only practical in their nonviolent strategy, which is why it melds so good and why these people are so easily, used in the military industrial complex. It does resonate with me that we are, like, Addy, you've been calling us 3%, right? As if, bro. Like maybe 0.03. I mean, I don't know how many people are in the chat. Like,
I don't want to talk us up too much, but I think you might be right on that, Aaron.
it isn't like us or anything, man. It's just what it is. And it's to say that, like, we, a lot of people are banging the gong for Sidney Powell and Giuliani, right? And they're supposedly on our side. Anybody else, all my family members, other friends who know what we're up to, try to listen to our content and things, like, they think we're in the Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani camp, right? Because it's 50-50 or whatever you want to call it in those camps. But then we're inside this camp trying to be like, hey, guys, like, maybe there's this whole school play going on, and gosh forbid we should even say that Trump or someone in Trump's circle or huge parts of Trump's circle are part of the school play. I mean, when are we all going to reckon with Bill Barr and Ray and Orr and all the other people who've been around here, guys? I mean, it's not like Trump actually drained the swamp, right? So like
Yeah.
we've got so much reckoning on our end in terms of who's who, what's what, you know, what is real conservatism if we're the real conservatives. And I don't know. I feel like we're definitely on an island. But with all
I
that
feel
said, right, to get
somewhat
back to the op poor
discouraged.
guys, to get back to the op poor guys,
Yeah.
we're so far outnumbered. And as much as we can be really good at research and really good at doing videos on social media, or which I don't know that, you know, I mean, we have some people who are good at, but, you know, we are really, really outnumbered here. So the only option, Mr. Popovich, thank you again, Mr. Popovich, because you've taught me that the only option we have now is to get creative. Super, 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 super duper creative. And we can do that. And we're getting there. And honestly, I feel like I've only unleashed like 5-10% of the possible creativity. I know like this group of people here, this little Osprey Nation, you know, if we start cranking, you know, we could really get the creativity going, right? Because like that's, you know, like the violence, as if like violence is ever going to make any thing happen, right? We know that, right? And so you look at all these goofballs and their revolutions, their orange revolutions and their tulip revolution, right? Where they like brought tulips out to the police in the streets or something, you know, um, and things like that. And you can see them trying to do that with BLM, right? Where they'll get like the moms to come out in Portland and they'll get like the hockey players to come out and shoot the smoke bombs back at the police and things like that. But like, it's such, you know, fake, you know, phony nonsense, right? That I feel like if our side, you know, whatever our side is, stops with all the like, you know, uh, kineticness and embraces creativity and tulips and art and music and, you know, like, I don't know, Kanye dance parties, right? I don't know that we have to make Kanye fans in
Well,
every nation, but I know Addy
China.
and I are Kanye fans, right? Osprey Kanye dance parties and parking lots. I mean, just creative things, man. Like you can do creative things. He's got the Kanye shoe.
Where'd you get those
But
from,
like,
Addy?
Those
but
are
that's
from
our
my
only chance.
sponsor, Aaron Adler, right there.
Creativity is
We
our
don't know if
only
those are
chance,
real.
right? Guns are not our chance. Fighting is not our chance. Even this stop the steal protest stuff, like it's a start, man. It's fine, but just like all the chanting, man, man, USA, USA, stop the steal, stop the steal. It's like, dude, let's get creative. Like, if we get creative, there's no chance that they have any chance of doing anything against us, and it'll be great. And so, like, I want to say thank you again to the Center for Non-Violent Action and Strategy or Tactics. I think I messed it up a little there, but Mr. Popovich, I've been watching a lot of your videos, and I want to say thank you for all of the tips and tricks because while you, Mr. Popovich, do seem to have this narrow tunnel vision focus on dictators, right? And you and your group, since your Otpor days, have been super into individuals as dictators. Here in America, we're a little bit further down the tracks and we realize that systems and groups can provide that dictatorial oppression above us, right? That it's not Biden, it's not Hillary, it's
Right.
not Trump, right? He was there 4 years as if he was a dictator. Like that was their whole, you know, oh, Trump the dictator. That's why they had to bring out all the Otpor tactics with all this BLM stuff recently, is because they got hired to go get the dictator Trump, because that's what they do is get dictators. It's like 4 years, you know. But like
Yeah.
we know that the system is the dictator, right? Like
I saw this
it's
tweet. It said that even the Soviets knew they needed 5-year plans, and the U.S. presidential cycle is only 4 years. You know, so there's only so much he can get done. But and I think that's what you talk about, like the system acting as a dictator, is I think partially why it's so hard for people. Like it's easier to believe that Trump is just the bad guy, and you know the system is fine and all this. When in reality, it's literally everybody else, but Trump. You know, it is the system. That's why it looks like he's the bad guy because everyone else is pointing the finger at him. You know, it's like you know, like in middle school or elementary school when it's like the outcast. Like it it's you know when you get a group of people and there's like one guy, like the Omega Wolf, let's say, they just want to gang up on him. they can just make up whatever story they want. And who are you going to believe, the 8 people or the one? You know, it's most people will believe the group rather than the one person. So it's I think it's really hard for people to grasp the level of corruption and just seediness of the whole situation. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling a bit discouraged, guys. I'm feeling a bit I don't know, like unfocused in a way such that you don't know where to direct your energy. You know what I mean? Like you don't know where to focus your attention on to make the greatest difference.
You ever
So
been on a hiking trip?
Yeah, it's like should you like be preparing for the end of the world and getting your bunker shit ready, or should you be still fighting the battle to make Donald Trump the president?
yeah, but I have been hiking before, Aaron, but not for a while.
You ever gone over? You ever like thought that you were gonna reach the summit and you're like, that's it, there it is, we're getting there, we're gonna camp right there, and we're gonna be at the summit of that mountain. And then you start getting there, and you get over the summit of the mountain, and then you realize that like that wasn't even the summit at all, and the summit's really that thing up there, and it's way bigger and further away. Has that ever happened to you on a hiking trip?
Yeah, yeah. You think you're further along than you are, right?
Or just like, you mean there's so much more climbing, the mountain's bigger,
Or
and
yeah,
like it's like, oh man, I'm exhausted, I'm hiking, I have beans, and just like whatever, this hiking trip's intense. And I thought I was about to like get to the top of the mountain, and I was really going to be pumped about it, and all I found out was that there's this other mountain, right? But then you're going to get on top of that other incredible mountain. You're not actually going to die on the hiking trip. You're going to be okay. You're going to do it. You might eat some beans and other things a couple more nights. It might be tough on the road, but like then you're going to on top of the bigger, better mountain, and it's going to be that much more awesome. And it's so exciting when you're like, whoa, wait a second. There's a bigger, better mountain that I get to climb. This is great. Dude, like we had Obama, Clinton, Bush, all these people. We may deal with the Biden presidency. I don't really know. It doesn't seem like Trump's legal team is any better than Roger Stone's legal team or any of these other people who may just be school play legal people. But it's all good, man. Like we know, like we're really seeing the other mountain now. Like they tried to hide that mountain and make us think we were just climbing this little tiny mountain to get like, a Jaguar or a mansion or a retirement plan. And it's like, no, dude, you were using us to be the economy or to be, the clearinghouse of the world financially. And if we can figure this out and, I dare say like destroy money or figure out how we're going to get these banksters flipped upside down, like it's going to be great. It's going to be even greater than great. It's going to be MAGA revolution times 10, times 100. So like, whatever, I mean, the pendulum swings, we'll be okay. Be pumped. Like you haven't done anything wrong, Addy. You've done everything right. You every day you're waking up doing it right. Most of the people I'm sure in this chat, other than the, CIA and FBI agents whose job it is to read the chat and learn from us and to learn from our brilliant researchers in our team. Hey, even they're cool. Like, even like whatever, man, like
15
everybody's
days,
great.
guys.
We're all doing great.
15 days, slow the spread.
I want to throw a few names out here from the research that our crew, our Osprey crew needs to munch on if I could. But if you guys, should I do that right now?
Go for it, Aaron.
A couple names. So Harry the Greek, I mean, man, there's George as Yoda. If you're going to be Luke and George is going to be Yoda.
I feel like you're Aaron.
I think I'm Han Solo, if anything. If I'm hanging out with you,
you're the best looking guy.
I don't know, but I know. Regardless, Harry the Greek's like one of those old Jedi Council guys, right? Who's just like even above Yoda or something, or like separate but equal to Yoda. Okay, so Harry comes out with this list of awesome patents.
He's Samuel L. Jackson.
Old patents, all the voting patents that have then gone to Diebold and to China and all this other stuff. And George was hammering on the China connection, which is obviously going to be our thing and going to be where the rubber meets the road. But I started, going back to the older guys in the 90s, who are these people whose names are on the patents, right? And one that you come up with is a Larry Korb, a Lawrence Korb. And this is a military industrial complex gentleman who I don't think a lot of people know of, even though he's probably someone you've seen on your television as a talking head or whatever. George is the Wookiee. No. George is just the tallest Yoda ever. but this gentleman, Larry Korb, there's a Larry Korb, a Lawrence Korb, whose name is all over these old school Dominion patents. And I'm very confident to say this would be the same Larry Korb. I'll apologize in advance if this is not the same Larry Korb, but I highly think that it is based on the research I've been doing for quite a while to identify that it is. And yeah, this guy, 1939, Center for American Progress. He's born in 1939, Center for Defense Information, Council Foreign Relations. He's all over, he's flying the P-3 Orion surveillance plane in Vietnam, comes back, goes to, Naval Reserve, U.S. Coast Guard, Naval War College. And then here, Reagan Bush, right? Korb served as an advisor to Reagan and Bush election committee in 1980. He was then appointed Assistant Secretary of Defense. From 1981 to 1985, he administered 70% of the defense budget. So like early 80s, this dude's administering most of the defense budget, right? Now, conveniently, his Wikipedia has nothing at all to tell me about the years 1985 to 1998. There's a little gap here from 1985 to 1998. The patents, coincidentally, the patents that Harry linked us to seem to be like 91, 97, so for some reason his work in Dominion doing patents doesn't seem to have made it to his Wikipedia page, but
yeah, it's Wikipedia, like not having a photo at all on Wikipedia.
It's just, any Wikipedia editors out there, it might be just an oversight. But we've got this gentleman here who's really highly involved, naval this and that, and patents.
It's Korb, you said? Korb, K-O-R-B.
Larry Korb, Lawrence Korb. I don't know much about him. I just learned about him, but like I won't read the whole Wikipedia page, right? You heard that he came in, he did all that stuff. He's in Vietnam, he's doing that. Then he's working with Reagan Bush, right? Administering a lot of most of the defense money under Reagan Bush. And then we'll just skim down here and we'll explain that in 2008, Korb worked as an advisor to Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. So I need any Democrats out there who are listening to understand, any Democrats who are like trolling us or watching us to hawk us or something, we're actually the last of the Democrats. We're kind of third party, like party smashers now, we hope to be, because you guys went so crazy. But we're really the last of the Democrats. We're the only people that kept our eyes on the prize with these neocon Bush folks, because all these neocon Bush folks jumped over to Hillary 2008 and beyond. So you Democrats, you're really just neocon Bush folks. Yeah. And whatever you want to call yourselves. And Republicans, I guess.
Obama was one. Everyone bought into the hope and change bullshit, and he turned out to.
So, like, we're the alt-right, the alt-left, whatever we are. I don't know, man. Like,
we're the anti-war. We're the anti-war. A vote for Biden is a vote for war in the Middle East and worldwide. Now, China, I think, is going to be a problem no matter what, just because they're a communist superpower. But as far as meddling in the Middle East or Africa, Trump has essentially been trying to put a pause on that for the last 40 years. And yeah, regardless of the verbiage you use, whether it's neocons or neoliberals, all these people want war. And I think maybe that might be the issue to focus on.
You can also rest on, like, I don't know, I remember being 17 years old, a senior in high school, sitting on my friend's couch, who was an ardent Democrat, right? Watching Bush versus Gore at the edge of our seats, right? And I was rooting for Gore at that time, which now I guess, turns out Gore's probably not that great either. I don't know. But those people are still really hardcore Dems, right? They really hate Donald Trump, and they're really hardcore Dems, really going for Biden, right? And I keep trying to tell him, like, guys, like, we were chilling not even 2 decades ago on your couch, and you were brokenhearted over George Bush. Like, you're going for George Bush's people. You're George Bush people now,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't compute, But like,
Did
you
you
got to
see who Biden put on his cabinet? John Kerry. John Kerry. Who knew that guy was still alive? Kerry Bush. You guys remember that?
sure.
2004. That was
Well,
almost
no, Kerry against Bush, sure, yeah,
Kerry
yeah.
Edwards. It was the ticket, I
Right.
think. But
Right. Well, you had to figure, there'd be a job for John there. He's done a lot. But so we got Larry Korb. I think honestly, like,
total
our
Zion.
awesome team of researching Ospreys here. If you guys can start researching Larry Korb, you'll have much more done than I've been able to accomplish by
I'm
the
surprised
time
we
the sun
haven't
comes
heard
up.
of him before. If he's based on what you've told me, it sounds like he's played quite a role.
Huge role. Oh yeah, I mean, he's definitely a huge player, and I mean, I think Petraeus gets his orders from Larry Korb. My expectation is that, like, Petraeus is following Korb's orders in a sense, or someone associated with Korb per se. But he's been around. I mean, if you type him in, in fact,
is that like an old Korb German, right? These paperclip Nazis, what I'm guessing.
You guys are making me want to go and hang out with you guys at the studio.
Nazis.
Just for any fans of our channel here, if you go into our playlist, I think over from videos, you get liked videos is actually the first like playlist is things that we've selected as a thumbs up. And I will admit that I think, even though a few of us definitely may be in on the management behind the scenes at the studio here, most of the thumbs up and liked videos are from me. And so if you want to kind of see the breadcrumbs I'm trying to leave for the Ospreys throughout the day, I'll thumbs up different videos. And so I've got some Larry Korbs in there. I also have a bunch of clips I thumbs up in there of the Ohio National Guard and their 12+ year partnership with the Serbian military, which is just so fascinating, right? It's like we've got this little thing in America where all these post-Soviet states have these one-on-one partnerships with these state national guards, and they'll fly, and do little training exercises and things. And, Ohio, we know from the George Webb research that Ohio is a pretty important place as far as the military and its equipment and research, et cetera, et cetera. So, go figure, Serbia is going to be teamed up with Ohio in this National Guard partnership. Michigan got Latvia. I was keen to notice that. Latvia is probably not as much a power player as Serbia is these days.
What do you mean Michigan got Latvia?
Force base in Dayton, right?
But now the other name, other than Mr. Korb, and I don't want to disparage Mr. Korb or his service in any way, honestly. Like, these people, I do really believe, I watched quite a few interviews of Mr. Korb today. Like, he really, I do think, cares about America and wants what's best for it. I don't know that, the Constitution is always at the forefront of his mind, unfortunately. And there may be reasons for that we could all talk about another time. But, like, I don't want to disparage him in any way other than to say that the research is really circling back to this man through patents from Dominion and then, his career and other things that really make me seem to think that he could be a very important decision maker in the geopolitics that, defines our lives. But now another name, probably less important than Mr. Korb, but also on these patents, is a gentleman who I also don't want to disparage in any way, maybe a great guy, vice president at Dominion. His name is Nick Ikonomakis. Ikonomakis. Nick Ikonomakis.
Is that Greek?
I don't know, and like, dude, like, we find this guy in the patents from, way back 25 years ago. He's been working for Dominion, making machines, doing things, a very important player at Dominion. And no doubt, someone who has worked really hard to serve for democracy and elections for Dominion and the company. But the fact that this really important guy at Dominion, going back a really far way in the company, was at the TCF Center Detroit all night on election night, really has me scratching my head.
Say that
I don't
again.
know what grand
Who was
juries.
There?
Huh?
Who was there?
Nick Ikonomakis, this guy who goes way back in Dominion, 20+ years, vice president, patents, all sorts of very important stuff, right? And we've got affidavits of people who are interacting with him. He was a manager,
Oh,
a floor manager there at TCF in Detroit. And his stance, as he said to many of the people who were filing affidavits, who were saying, "Hey, my boss, or this guy who was, my contracted boss for the day or whatever, this Nick Ikonomakis, he was telling me we're only here to provide logistical and equipment support. We're not here to run the elections for them." Which is, I'm sure, very accurate and true, right? We wouldn't want people working for election software hardware companies doing the jobs of county clerks, city
That was
clerks,
the guy
township clerks.
Maricopa, right?
No, this is a guy who works for Dominion. This is a guy who's
Yeah, but the guy in Maricopa was the one that was talking about the guy who I in the cake is saying like we bring them in just to
so
kind of oversee the operation. There's like the guy in the voting.
he certainly
czar
like would be a really
in
important.
Maricopa County was just talking about that.
I mean, Ikonomakis is clearly a very top person in Dominion, going back many years, and I'm sure he would be sure to be on site somewhere voting day. I mean, it's the biggest day for
I
the
think
company.
it's just interesting that he chose Wayne County.
He's at TCF. Like,
Yeah.
he's there at TCF.
Out
Which
of
is
all
like,
the
man,
places, out of all 30 states that use Dominion, he chose that particular location.
They're everywhere. There's Dominion representatives all over the country
right.
in the voting rooms, like with the heads of who runs the
And
the
I'm
voting
sure
regulations. I forget what
It's
they're.
just it's total privatization of everything in our society.
and that's not to just say anything
total
out of the
marriage
ordinary.
of business and state, right? Everything from top down, even to what they use to counter elections. It's just all privatized.
I mean, we were able to identify Wayne County before the election. There's clips of us and our election night crew talking about Wayne County being.
We got Ohio right. We got Ohio right. We're right on that.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I don't want to say anything or project any type of, criminal anything or whatever against this gentleman that I've mentioned. Because it's like, yeah, if I were to, say, hey, the top 10 team of Dominion people, you guys are going to need to be out in the field on election night. What are the top 10 places that are going to have the most action and are going to need us?
I think it's more than that. I think they have people like spread out everywhere.
No, that's what they do have people spread out everywhere. There are Dominion staff everywhere. There are people who work for the company making sure the machines don't paper jam, making sure, USB ports are where USB ports are supposed to be and all the things that go on. And, that's fantastic. And that's great.
Back room.
There are many staff doing many things. This really, really high level, really important, very long serving staff member of Dominion, all the way back to patents. There's not too many people on the patents of the company's equipment and things like that. He is at TCF Detroit on election night.
Yeah.
So that's just like, wow, he really did know that was going to be a very important place, and he was very keen. And that was smart of the company, I guess you might say. I mean, prudent of them to know that Wayne County would be such an important place because, I mean, it's, had a history and all those other things. So it's appreciated that they were there with such high level people, ready to help. But unfortunately, too many things did still slip through the cracks, and there are many affidavits, and it's unfortunate.
Thanks for the info, Aaron. A lot of great stuff there.
And those two names, Osprey Nation, please help. Those two names we could use.
Lawrence Korb, Larry Korb, and then Nick. How do you say it again?
Ikonomakis.
Ikonomakis. Okay.
And George, just to say too, George is always, he loves spelling the names, but sometimes it's tough. But I believe the guy Laz, right? Not Raz from the Chaz. This is a different, don't confuse Raz with the Chaz with Laz.
Lazarevic, right? Or Lazarevic?
Lazarevic, I think would be the, Lazarevic, right? Okay. So just say it 3 times fast and, getting Lazarevic, right? But there's actually also a Serbian general who went to jail for many years for war crimes, spent almost a decade in The Hague. I haven't been able to identify if the Lazarevic that George has been identifying may be related or connected to the general Lazarevic.
Well, I know of somebody who actually met him years ago. We're trying to get him on the show, so hopefully we can do that soon. But
Fascinating.
we're
I'm
at an
sure that's a
hour
common
here.
last name in Serbia anyway.
Yeah,
So.
maybe it may be, but we're at an hour here, guys. Let's just do final thoughts. We're on the eve of Thanksgiving, my favorite holiday, and I will do a check-in tomorrow at the beach for a couple videos, as well as not just the election stuff that's been going on, but there's this murder case in Ohio that I've been following as well, which is probably completely unrelated, but it's one of those murder cases that it's like they put it on or it's like juicy murder cases where they're just super entertaining. So I've been following that as well. But I'll check in tomorrow and maybe we can do a chat. I know you got your family there, Aaron, but perhaps
Yeah, I'll probably be out for a couple days as I
yeah,
try to get my act together, and I
definitely.
think I might go Black Friday shopping for an iPhone so that I can finally make my own connections here. But we'll see.
You can always hit me up, Addy.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's check in, Andy, and we can do later this week too when I'm in Florida. I'll be leaving on Friday. But just to recap, we got Lazarevic, as we mentioned, Lawrence Korb as well, that Aaron brought up, and then of course the pardoning of Flynn by Trump, combined with the kind of just new wave, new fascist wave, as I call it, across the world with these lockdowns in various states and countries. But final thoughts, guys, before we sign off.
I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. Be safe. Feel free to congregate with your loved ones. Have fun together. Drink some beer. If you want to wear a mask, go ahead. I'll make fun of you if you're around me. But other than that, thanks for listening and watching us and carrying us through the holiday season, guys. We appreciate you fans out there.
I
Definitely. Go ahead, Aaron.
As a closing statement, I know a lot of people approach this social media space as like, oh, I'm a guy on a screen. You're just watching my face on a screen, and like I don't feel like that. I feel like we are all really connected as a team and a little family.
And
Just
anybody
just a little
wondering,
family.
Aaron is like this like all day. So
I know it's great, but
he's
like
not
He
putting on an act.
wears you down.
I know. That's why we got to stop in an hour. But like, we are really connected in this journey, team and folks, and it's exciting. It's wonderful. There's a lot of people, probably new people seeing us, and a lot of people very focused on the news right now. And there's a lot of names. There's a lot of new names. Our group is typically a group that comes up with a lot of names, and we are continuing to come up with a lot of names and some old names as well. And I think, because we often, can be, like me and be exuberant and excited and, have a lot of zeal for what we're doing. And I know others in the team do. I think George often can get, really passionate about what he's saying on the channel here and everything. And we do think like we're learning a lot and we're finding out a lot of information. But I don't think any names that were being named, we really want to reach out to all people, any people, from any of the names, just any of the names. I won't name them now, other than to say that like we aren't sure who the bad guys are. I'm not, at least, and don't let anybody from the top to bottom tell you that they're sure or that I know who the good guys and the bad guys are. I have ideas and my own hypotheses, but like
Yeah.
the good guys could be the bad guys could be the good guys. It could all be twisted, and we don't know. And we aren't trying to attack anyone. We aren't trying to disparage anyone. We are open to all ideas. We are open to twists and turns, and I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I really want to say that to anyone, any of these people I might have mentioned, any of these 4-star generals or really important, colonels and lieutenants or whatever. Like, hey man, they have feelings too, and it is what it is. And like it, we're not trying to attack anybody. We're just trying to be free and
Well said.
express liberty, and that's what it is. And I
Definitely.
really think that we're all doing that together. So thank you all.
And Addy, before you give your final thought, I do want to give a plug. I started the Club Osprey. It's a new YouTube page that Aaron and I and anyone else is invited to put. We're going to do like book clubs, Bible clubs, research document readings, and historical document readings, stuff like that. and we're going to be doing that stuff on Club Osprey. So if you feel you can, as a fan, you can feel free to do your own book club or document reading yourself. Just let I know you're blocking me. Just let us know, and we'll throw you on there. And
Pop quiz.
neighborhoodnewsstudio.com will be up this weekend, so the website's going to be looking a lot nicer. Everything's going to be a little bit more streamlined, and there'll be some merch on there for sale and stuff. So it should be some fun, new, exciting times in the future. Thank you, Addy.
Thanks,
Take it
Andy.
away.
Pop
Thanks,
quiz for the
Aaron.
audience. Just one thing Andy taught me this week. What is a group of ospreys? Right?
What is that?
What is like a group of ospreys flying together, which
A
isn't
flock.
something that happens very often, which is why we probably don't know this.
It
You know,
really doesn't happen.
like there would be like a herd of buffalo.
They're solo birds.
Or a school of fish.
Murder
What would a
of
group
crows.
of ospreys be? Pop quiz. You have 10 seconds to answer.
I can look it up on my phone.
Nah, I know. That's more for the chat to see if they can answer it. Let's see if they get it. You give your closing thoughts while the chat finds that answer for ourselves, right?
Okay, so give us a chat or give us a guess there, guys. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. This is Late Night with Addy, Aaron, and Andy. Just talking research notes here on the eve of Thanksgiving, talking election, fascism, communism, geopolitics in general, current events, philosophy, ideas, books, and otherwise. Is it a SCAD? There's Ryan Dawson's book. I'm talking to Ryan Dawson tomorrow, guys. If you want to check him out on my channel, I'll probably do it to the studio too, if that's okay with with George.
Oh, you got a big day tomorrow talking to Ryan Dawson and Andy DeBala. That's some big interviews, you know.
It's not a SCAD, I don't believe. No, I think the correct answer was a kettle.
A kettle.
Kettle. Okay.
A kettle of osprey.
Yeah.
Wow.
A kettle.
Awesome. Well, we'll end on that note, guys. Check out Ryan's book, Separation of Business and State. And we will see you all next time, folks. Stay frosty, and God bless America. Have a good night, guys.
Yeah.